Hello. Oh, that's good. Thanks. I'm just kind of warming up. It's really hot, so my hands are a little sweaty. Keep losing my grip. It's not supposed to be this hot. I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, but in that time I've never missed a day of practice. So I don't know how many many days in a row that is. A lot. Let's see. We'll do. Oops. Harper? Yeah, I can write Harper. Let's do it. man, it is hot today. Way too hot. How long has it took you to practice? Every single day. I've practiced for 3 years straight now. So I don't even know. What is that? 365, 7, I don't know. Coming up on over 1,000 days in a row. If I'm not already there. Something like that. I usually practice for a couple hours a day. So I don't know. A few thousand hours of practice at least. Absolutely no artistic experience before I started. Absolutely none. I couldn't draw. I couldn't draw a stick figure. Terrible artist. I can't draw anything. Actually, I was practicing my offhand flourishing. Let's see if I can do like a bird here, maybe. kind of an angry bird, I guess. Nope. Let's drop the blob of ink. I'm gonna need more ink here. Running low on ink here. Might overfill it. Okie doke. Okie doke. Let's see. Let's do a fun one. Jeez, keep dropping ink. What's going on? Yeah, I do. I think I can do about 12 other scripts. Yeah. So just for fun, let's bring out. I just prefer pointed pen, but we can get our little buddy out here. We can definitely do other stuff for shits. spacing wrong on that, but let's see, where's my pen? I don't really do that one very much. There's some I practice more than others, so I'm not amazing at 12. I primarily practice pointed pen, but I like to have fun with other stuff. Oh, come on. Work. Let's see here. I guess that one don't want to do it, huh? There we go. It's been a while since I used that pen. Oops. So I put the top back on that. Where'd the pen go? Oh. Really, I like the pointed pen scripts though. There's a lot more of those too that we can do. We can do, this is a fun one. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's Spencerian, which you're really not supposed to do with a straight holder, but we're gonna. Question is, what are we gonna write now? That's the question. Oh yeah, old letters are fun. I spend a lot of time looking at them. This? Nope. It's actually just using a standard speedball straight holder, and then the nibs come in and out. This is a Galat 303 nib. It just slides right in. Gotta get it all in there. And then just using walnut ink, which just take a pinch of crystals, throw them in the container, and pour water. Mix it up. Good to go. Oh boy. I'm at a weird angle right now. Those are both great pens, the Lamy and the Kakuno. Those are both fantastic. You can't get any line variation with those, but you can do business penmanship, and you can do unshaded Spencerian with it. Jeez. It's a new nib, so I must not have gotten all the oil off of it. Keeps dropping ink on me. It's all right. Yeah, extra fine can be a little sharp. I like the big nibs. So I have one here somewhere. So like it's my Twisby Eco. I don't know if it's got any ink running. It's the stub nib. I like this thing a lot. This thing's fun. You can do some fun stuff with this. Can't do it as well as with an actual calligraphy pen, but get the gist. What is it, October? Somehow already. Ay, ay, ay. This new nib is giving me a lot of problems today. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Tammy. Yeah, they wear out, so you have to replace them every so often. And when you buy a new nib, they come coated in this oil from the factory, so that protects it from rusting while you have them in storage. You got to get that oil off before you write with it, because it'll cause the ink to just sort of slide right off the nib. So you gotta make sure you scrub it off, and sometimes you don't always do the best job. So sometimes it can take a minute to break in a new nib. But I think this one's starting to get it. I just replaced this one like about an hour ago. Let's see. Because they're just made of thin steel, so they'll rust over time and they'll lose their sharpness. They get scratchy. So you just toss them. They're not expensive. They're only like $1 a piece. It's actually a really cheap hobby. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't need to grind them. No, no. See, I'll show you. You just come in a little pack like that, and you just wipe them down when you get them, and stick them in the pen. Throw the old one out. Although some people do, I guess. I know a couple people who like to sharpen their nibs. They get the super fine grit sandpaper, and they make them sharper. I find with the Galat 303 nibs, that's not really necessary. They're already extremely sharp, like needle sharp. If you stab yourself, it'll probably draw blood. I've done it a few times by accident. But I know some people who like to use the Hunt 101 nibs, and they like to sharpen them. Oh, the Indian made ones, yeah. Oh, there is a pen that is made in India and Southeast Asia that I really want to get my hands on, but the shipping costs are ridiculous. I can't remember the name of it. It's a flex nib. They look great, but I can't justify the shipping cost. Maybe someday. Picking up. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. All that stuff is, if you actually can go to Japan, it's way cheaper to do it that way. Yeah, if I had a friend going to Japan, I would definitely have him pick me up something. I would love a Sailor Gold nib. I actually would really like a Sailor Music nib. Those things look really fun. I love the Sailor pens. Um, Sailor pens are great. But yeah, actually traveling to Japan to get it is definitely the way to go, for sure. I know that I'm in a group where we have a guy that goes to Japan every once in a while, and he'll take people's orders and bring them back for them. Yeah, it happened again. I think that's the most that's ever happened in one writing session. Oh, that's pretty good. 10 to 12 for $1. I will say India and Vietnam make some good stuff when it comes to stationery supplies. When I'm looking for paper, I always look to see if it's made in India or Vietnam. Because if it's made there, then it's probably going to be really good paper. This paper was made in India, actually. This is just really cheap dollar store paper. I think a pad cost me $2. And most people wouldn't think to buy it because it's so cheap. And they were like, well, we got to go get the expensive paper that'll work with all this ink. But if you just know something about paper, you'll know that if you see made in India, it'll probably work just fine. So instead of spending a ton of money on expensive paper to practice with, I just go buy this cheap pad for a couple bucks and it works great. And then also over time you can just feel paper with your hands and you'll know whether or not it'll work. Um, like any paper made in America, it's just not gonna work. It's gonna bleed right through. It's gonna look like garbage. I might actually have some somewhere I can show off. Maybe not. So you gotta develop a feel for it. You don't need to be dropping tons of money on paper all the time. How can you make perfect circles? I can't, but there is actually a technique. So this is funny. I just learned this not too long ago. If you want to learn how to draw a perfect circle, watch this. Let's make a box just for reference. Okay, so this is our box. Okay, and what we're going to do is a motion. So to start it, here, I'm going to draw a circle. Okay, so when we start, we're actually going to start here and just do a half circle at a time. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to start with big circles. So train your hand, get in the motion, get in the motion. We're using whole arm movement. And then as you're getting ready to start the circle, start making your motions a little bit smaller, closer to the paper. And then make sure you want to hit these center points of the box. Okay, go in your circle, and then we're going to come back down. This is all one motion. I'm going to go around, around, and then we're going to pick off here. That's the theory, and then you come back around. So let's actually try this here. Not great. But in calligraphy, you actually want to do ovals. So one of the drills we do is just drawing lots of ovals over and over and over and over and over again. Just line after line of ovals. And the trick is to not move your fingers. All the motion is coming from your arm. Because if you start moving your fingers, they're going to start making mistakes. Your finger's only job is to just hold this pen. Just keep the pen in place. That's all you want your fingers to do. If you give your fingers more than one thing to do, they're probably going to fail at one or two things. Yeah, golden ratio. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, everything's digital these days. I think digital calligraphy is a little bit easier to do because it fixes your shaky lines for you. But when you have an actual pen and paper, there's nowhere to hide. How do you start calligraphy? It depends on, okay, if you want to start, there's a couple books I would recommend, and you can get them for free on the internet. So if you want to do calligraphy like this, go look up either the Universal Penman or the Zenarian Manual. That's with a Z, Zenarian. I'll write it out. And those two books you should be able to find for free for download. What am I doing? Those books are free, and really just those two books will give you pretty much everything you need to know for this style. Now, if you just have a pen and you just want to improve your handwriting, but you want to make it look sort of like calligraphy, I would recommend business penmanship. It was designed to be written with a regular pen, and then at a speed where you could use it in day-to-day life. So back in the day, before we had typewriters and computers, if you wanted to send good-looking business correspondence, you used business penmanship. If you want to learn copperplate, I would get Eleanor Winter's Mastering Copperplate Calligraphy. I think that's still the gold standard. But also, you can just look this stuff up on YouTube, like PA Scribe and MAS Grimes. These guys have YouTube channels where they put out a lot of like really good tutorials. They break it down for all levels. And And just watching those actually will get you pretty far. Let's see here. Yeah, ink is just running off this nib today. The Zenarian Manual and the Universal Penman are so old that they don't have a copyright anymore, so you can just download them. There's tons of places to download them. And even though they're old, nothing's really changed. They're still the best books on the subject out there. I think most people would agree with that. Yeah, you can also just get sheets and trace. For business penmanship, any pen will do. Any pen will do for business penmanship. So I know most people like fountain pens because they give smooth, consistent lines. So if you have like a cheap fountain pen or something, I would use that. But really anything, you can do it with anything. You know, you can actually do you can do calligraphy with a pencil if you want. See, just a nice soft pencil. What is this? A 6B. You can even just get a regular carpenter pencil from a construction supply store and use that, because if it's soft, let's see if I can. Pencil's actually a really good way to start learning. Rightish. I gotta shape the tip a little here, but there we go. Print handwriting, I guess that would depend on what kind of printing you want to do. It can be a little bit tough to do the printed calligraphy styles quickly. They tend to be really slow. Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, I would say Foundations of Calligraphy by Sheila Waters is pretty much one of the best books out there. And that's going to be like all your broad scripts, but you can do some of them um, with just a pen, right? Like a pen like this. I can do pointed pen italic is definitely a thing. But like I said, as you can see, it's a little bit slower. It's not like you're not going to be writing it fast. So if you need something that you can write quickly, might be tough. Personally, I would just go with, like if you have a regular fountain pen, I would go with business penmanship or ornamental. And this is all, like, what you want to do is learn whole arm movement. Forgot what I was writing there. So look into the Palmer method. And even if you don't learn a calligraphy script with it, it'll improve your handwriting a lot. Like your regular handwriting will improve significantly if you learn how to do whole arm movement. And for the Palmer technique, you should be able to write regular handwriting pretty quickly once you get the motion down. It does take a while because it's kind of unnatural and it's a little tricky. But once you get it, you know, it's pretty quick. My irregular handwriting actually sucks. And that's not too uncommon with calligraphers. You would think that if you do calligraphy, then your handwriting must be great, but that's not quite, because calligraphy is more like drawing than it is writing. So for calligraphy, like there's just basic strokes. So like that's a basic stroke. Um, that's a basic stroke. That's a basic stroke. And you're just combining these things, right? So this plus this equals an A. So an A is just this stroke plus this stroke. That's all an A is. You can kind of look at them like math equations. This plus that equals whatever. Yep, spacing's huge. Yeah, letter balance. So certain things, like, yeah, so everything I'm writing is based on this oval here. So let's see here. When I'm making my letter forms, I want them all to be consistent in size, but also in distance. So I'll show you what I mean here in a sec. So what we're looking for is an oval, an oval, an oval, an oval. So if I go through this and just draw ovals in the negative space where there isn't any lines, I should have a bunch of ovals approximately the same size. It's all ovals. And once you can start seeing the ovals, it starts making a lot of sense. You know what? Let's do the alphabet. I haven't done that in a while. So yeah, it's easy. It's easy to pick up. Like just in a couple hours, you can get an understanding of the basics. The trick, and like making it look good though, takes a lot of practice because you got to train that muscle memory. And then the grip too, I guess. The pen, um, so I'm holding it straight up and down here. When you grip a pen, it's going to be a little unnatural because the way that I want my hand, I want my wrist to be flat, and then just my ring finger and pinky finger nails to glide across the paper. I don't want my hand resting like this because I can't move, right? I want to be able to glide around. And I want to keep the pen tip aligned with the paper, because if you start rotating the pen, it's going to start catching and get all scratchy, and you'll bend the nib and it won't look good. So what I do is hold the pen straight up and down. Your middle finger here, just up to the first knuckle, is going to come underneath like this. And I'm just here underneath, and I'm just going to wrap my hand around. Now I don't want it like this. I want it like this, my index finger. And then just tilt it back so it's about 70 degrees to the paper, right? See how it's coming across my knuckle? And then you just want this tip here to be pointed at your shoulder. It feels a little unnatural at first, but once you get it down, it makes a lot of sense. So grip and posture are actually really big components. No, yeah, posture, exactly. And I think a lot of people like to dive in without taking the time to do some of the basics. And that can lead to frustration. You got to do the basics. And the basics are definitely boring. The basics are really boring. But you got to do them. And if you do them, once things start coming together, you're going to be really glad that you did. And then the other thing is, if you do try calligraphy with a pointed nib, you're going to find out really fast that you press really hard on the paper with a regular pen, and you just never realized it. And when you get this, you're going to have to work on being really light. So I'm not applying really any pressure to the pen when I'm just writing. I'm just letting the weight of the pen sit on the paper. I'm just using the weight of the pen, just nothing but gravity. I'm not pushing down on it, just the weight of the pen. And then when I apply line weight, when I come down and I do that, I'm not using my finger to jam it down. The pressure comes from my wrist. And I'm pushing the pen up against my finger. So I want to use my wrist to generate some leverage on the pen so that it's pushing up against my finger. So I don't want to take my finger and jam it like that. I want my wrist to see how it's really subtle. It's a really subtle movement, but I don't know if you can see my wrist sort of dragging it. You want to drag the nib. You don't want to push, you want to drag. I'm going a little quick, so it's maybe a little sloppier than I would like. Q is always a weird one. And then once you get the basics down, you can start learning some flourishing. And frankly, flourishing is kind of like its own separate thing. There's not really any transfer from learning the letters over to flourishing. It feels like starting over, I swear. It's its own thing entirely. It finally might be getting warmed up here. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good one. So, I'm going to do a couple flourishes just for fun. Do some really fancy ones if I can pull them off. Oh, and I guess the other thing is you want to make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath. If you're holding your breath, you're probably going to have a bunch of shaky lines. I mean, you might have shaky lines anyways, but if you hold your breath, you're definitely going to have shaky lines. Generally, you want to inhale on the upstrokes and exhale on your downstrokes. And when I'm doing this, I'm just trying to make ovals. Always just trying to make symmetrical ovals. Capital Q versus smaller q, yeah. Yeah. So Q's weird. Q's a weird one. So this is the capital, just the standard capital Q can look like either this. This is the traditional one, right? And then some people will want to do this, I guess. I don't like this, but some people we'll make it like an O and then just add that tail. I think the flourished Q versions are much nicer. So if you just can eventually I think that's much nicer. But these would be the two basic forms. For a lowercase, there's actually a couple different ways too, I suppose. So this is generally the way I would do it. Just nothing fancy, just like that. Pretty simple. But this is also a standard version. And I really don't do this. Where that line, that space there is really narrow. I don't know. I don't like that. But yeah, there's always more than one way to skin a cat. You know, there's multiple variations of every letter. So if you don't like the way that one looks, just pick a different one. But just make sure that it's cohesive with the rest of the letters that you're doing. So like sometimes things can clash. So if I want to do a B, right? Let's say I want to do this kind of B. And we're going to do, right? Like, I love this B. This is a great B. Oops. Actually, I'm going to do a fun F here. I like this version of the letter F. This might be my favorite version of the letter F. We come down, and instead of coming back up, we're going to actually loop it around like that. Jeez, this ink is killing me today. So we got that B, right? And let's say we want to put another word next to it, right? We're writing two words. Or let's say we're writing beautiful penmanship. And then I do this for a P next to it. It's going to look, you'll see, it's going to look like it doesn't belong. Like that's a great P, but these two don't really mesh together well, right? So it can look a little jarring. Actually, I think this U is one of my favorite letters. It's really testing that less is more theory. Oh man, I've been going for a while here. I might have to call it quits here in a minute. Gotta go do house stuff, cook dinner, that sort of thing. So I actually think I'm gonna have to do that now. It's getting late. So, oh, you know what? Let's do one more here. That's a fun G. Sometimes you can connect things with what's called a ligature. And this is probably one of the most fun ones to do, in my opinion. Okie dokie. Thanks everyone for watching. Maybe I'll see you again next time. But it is time to go do chores. So, thanks.